Okay, so let's try and recreate this image in Blender. I'll try to go over every detail of creating this because I think it's a cool concept for a spaceship. So let's get into Blender and see what we can come up with. So when you're starting out with a project, the first thing you want to notice is the overall shape of the object that you're trying to create, recreate, whatever. So this is just like a donut shape, basically. So let's get into Blender and let's delete all this. Let's try and add a torus shape. Actually, no. Let's go and add a cylinder. First off, let's scale it on the z-axis to right about there. Let's say that's right. So tab into edit mode, select these two faces, and then right click and select bridge faces. And now you have like a donut shape. But then you're asking yourself, wait a minute, that's too thin. That's not. Oh yes, if you press Shift and Alt and then click on the face, you'll select all of the faces. Then Alt and E and extrude faces along normals, and here you go. And just like that. I'd say right up there. Okay. Perfect. So we got our overall shape, yes? I'd say that's about right. What else can we do? Well, we can rotate it on the x-axis for about 90 degrees, and then on the z-axis for, I don't know, let's say some 20 degree, no, minus 20 degrees, right? I can scale it up a bit more. Let's check. That's about it. Then what you can do is, how do I get all these details in? That's gonna take a lot of time to get them in. How should I do that? Well, you can do first off, let's tab into edit mode and Control R to add 2 loop cuts, and then I will select this one loop cut and slide it a bit to the left, right, and then I will do the second one. And once we've done that, what we can do is I'm gonna Shift Alt select, like this, Shift Alt select the inner face, and I'm gonna press P and separate by selection. So this is not now a separate object. Why we did that is, well, we need the details on the inside, yeah. So how do we do that? Well, there's an interesting way of getting that real easy, actually. What we do is we go to this website, which I will link I'll put the link down in the description. So what we do is we go to the JS Placement Classic, and then we click to generate a map, and then we just play around with the values here. We play with the values here a bit till we get what we want. Yeah, something like this, I guess. We go to save height. This will download the PNG. Now what we do is go to the separate object that we just made, so this one in the middle, yeah? Click on it, go to modifiers, and search for displace modifier. Don't worry about that. Let's create a new texture, and let's give it a name like, I don't know, detail, for example. Let's change, let's go to settings and set this to image or movie. Then we go to this drop down of image and click the open button. Then go find the image that you just created. So this is, in my case, this is going to be in downloads, and open this image. And what we get is kind of something like this. Let's turn this down to 0.1. Now there's not a lot of detail, as you can see, but we need to do a subdivision surface modifier. Now if we do a subdivision surface modifier, let's say we do, let me turn on statistics so we can see. So this one has 133,000 vertices. Let's do 8 levels, 7 levels. And as you can see, we get some details here, but you can also see that these details are not what we really want. So what I was doing here is I thought that the height map or the normal map was wrong, and I went ahead and generated another normal map and played around with the settings. But the simple fix was just to set the coordinates to UV instead of the local, as I'm about to figure out myself. Figured out why. Okay, very important, very important. Go to the modifier, displace, and then coordinates, switch this to UV. And look at this. Now, let's let me do this, switch on cavity, both. So now you can see it a bit better. Now look at this. All of these details in just a few clicks. So what we can do now is, let's do it 0.01. And now it's a little less prominent, but it still looks amazing. And you can see how this is a powerful tool. By the way, if you scale it down, for an example, let's scale it down, switch layout, you can see there are less details now. So very important, switch this to UV, coordinates to UV. And I'm just gonna scale this back up to right about here, because this looks good to me. Then what we can do is, let's select the main object, and let's switch back to edit mode, click on the faces, and let's select these two, and I'm just gonna Alt S to scale them in just a tiny bit, and then switch back to the detail and scale it in as well to match the overall shape. Now it's just a matter of giving the main object some details. So if we look at the reference, this thing has got stuff on the top as well. So what we can do here is, let's try and use the first displace image that we created. So let's go into edit mode. Let's do 2 loop cuts again. Select the edges, and we're just gonna slide them over like this. Perfect, like this. And then again, let's select Shift Alt to select all of these, P to separate by selection, and let's do the subdivision surface modifier first, and let's give it a value of 7 as well. Now let's do the displace. Let's give it a new texture, and let's call it detail 1. Remember to switch this back to UV. Go into settings, open, and we're gonna open the first one that we created. Go back to modifier tabs and switch this to 0.1. Now, here you go. You've got this. So let's add a bit more detail to it. Let's say, for an example, we want to do we want to create like this sloped edge here, for an example. Let's do that by selecting the main object now that we have, what's left of it anyway. Tab into edit mode. Let's select the edges and select all of these edges on both sides. And we're gonna hit Control B to bevel. And let me switch to the view, yeah, like this. So select edges, and let's Control B to bevel, and let's add like this. And now you can see we've got a little more of an edge here. So let's scale this one back in a little bit. Also, same as the last one, what you can do is you can go to the top detail panel, and you can go back to UV editing and just scale it up if you want a little more detail on here. Which actually I'm fine with this, yeah. And then what else can we do? Let's take the main object and shade it smooth. As you can see, here's a little, our details are protruding a little bit. Oh, it's the top one. Okay. Okay, in this case, I'm gonna move this to 0.5. And this is just gonna remove the protruding edges. We still got a lot of detail here. Now, yes, you can say that there's a lot of vertices. So it's like a million vertices in this whole mesh, whole object, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna shade this flat because it looks a bit better. But there's a fix to to the 1 million vertices, and I'll show that to you in a second. But I'm just gonna go and select the main object and select. I'm gonna hit this inner or this loop cut, and I'm just gonna Control X to dissolve this, and then let's select this edge. So Shift Alt to select the whole loop, and then Control B to bevel it a bit, like this. I'm gonna select the innermost loop, and I'm gonna slide it a bit to the center, and I'm gonna Alt S to scale it in. So we get that like yeah, that looks good. So I'm gonna do the same on the other side. Select this loop, Control X to dissolve, Control B to bevel. No, Control B. Why are you doing this to me? Ah, okay. Control B to bevel. Perfect. And now select this loop, double G to slide it, right about here, and then Alt S to scale it in, so we get that nice edge. There we go. Now, if you want, you can do a lot more things. Like we can do we can go back to edit mode. We can select these faces, and then what you can do is separate them again and do another displace map. Let's show you that. Let's give it a subdivision level of 6 and then displace it. And let's give it the same detail as the inner one. UV. Yeah, it takes a bit. And let's, let's scale this a lot. Oh, actually, yeah, I like what I just did there by accident. Okay. Let's not separate this. Let's Control Z until there we go. So what I did there is I accidentally selected the main object. So let's do that again. Let's subdivide it by 3 levels. Let's see how that works. Then displace it and give it the first detail and scale this down. Okay, let's give it a bit more subdivisions, and let's switch this to UV. And here you have this. And that looks cool. I'm gonna scale it down a bit. Here you go. Here you have your space station. So it's not the same as the image. It never will be because you're randomly generating a height map. But It's close enough. So what we are doing now is I'm gonna apply this and this. I'm gonna apply all the modifiers we have, and then I'm gonna go one by one. Let's start with the first main one. Let's move into tab, into edit mode, select all, X, but we're not gonna delete the vertices. I'm gonna select the limited dissolve function. And what this is gonna do, this is gonna cut down the amount of vertices we have in the mesh, which will in turn cut down the time that it needs to render the final image. And you'll see how it does that once it's finished. So I'm gonna get back to you once this finishes. Okay, that was actually pretty fast. So here you can see, let's switch into vertex view, what it did. It still has all the details, but let's not shade it so much. But the amount of vertices this one has it's almost, but this reduced the amount of vertices by almost double. So let's do that to the rest of the objects. So we tab into edit mode, select all, X, and limit to dissolve. Okay, so I finished dissolving all of these, as you can see. And I'll look at the statistics now for the whole document, or the whole file. Now there are only 206,000 vertices compared to the 2 million that we had. So that's a cool little trick for you. Now, if you want, what you can do is you can rotate it. No, let's do along the z-axis. So if you press R to rotate and then Z twice, it will rotate it out across the local instead of the global. So let's just find I like this one actually. And here we go. So let's try and render this. Let's add a camera, numpad 0 to move into the camera view, and let's do like this, yeah. So I'm just gonna go into the camera view, camera settings. I'm gonna go for, where is it? Viewport display, and turn this to 1, so we just get what we're gonna see in the camera. So this one is scaled for the vertical. I'm gonna scale it for the horizontal. It's fine. Now let's switch to the material preview or the render preview. Let me actually switch this to cycles and GPU compute. Cool. Okay, now that we are in render mode, what we can do is we can go to world properties on the right, click on this little yellow icon next to color, and let's switch this to environment texture. And then we go to open, downloads, and I'm just gonna select this HDRi. And here we can see the planet in the background. So we have the planet. So it's not going to be the same planet as in the image. But what we can do is we can search for more HDRIs. So the way we do that is we just type in free space HDRI. So let's see if we get lucky and find one. These are not. Let's see if we can search for space. No, this one doesn't have. Something like this. No. Oh, let me just browse a bit and find something, then I'll come back to. Okay, so I found this one, which is on the Render Crate website. I'm gonna link all the stuff that I've used in the video, or all the website links. So what I think will be a cool one is probably gonna be this one. So let's switch this to, come on, HDR 4K, and let's download it. Sure, whatever. Let's just see. Okay, download it. So let's go back to our project. Let's click on the open image file and then just find the latest one that you just downloaded. So this one. And here we go. Here we have our HDRi, which is fairly similar to the first one, or the reference image. So what we need to do now is, or what you can do now is go to shading, and I'm just gonna select scene light and scene world. Cool. Now switch to the camera view. I'm just gonna go here into the corner and select this to be world. Okay, once we're here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into preferences, add-ons, and what you want to do is make sure that you have Node Wrangler add-on enabled. Now, when you do, if you don't, go into get extensions and then just type in Node Wrangler and install it. So once you get the Node Wrangler enabled, click on the node, and let's then press Control T to enable the Node Wrangler add-on. Now what this is going to allow us to do is rotate the HDRI texture that we just imported. So I want so I want it to look more like this, so there's a shadow here. So how we can do that is we can play with the rotation of the mapping node. So let's try Z-axis, and let's do something like this. There we go. This looks good in my opinion. Let's check it in the render view. Yeah, this looks amazing. And that's how you can manipulate the HDRi. Okay, so here's what we can do about textures. Let's just add a new material. Let's call it Sci-Fi, for an example. So we have this principled BSDF shader in the material output. What we can do is we can add a texture. Let's go with something like Voronoi texture, for an example. Let's put that right here. Then we are gonna need a I want to have two colors to this, so let's go to search and search for color ramp like this, and I'm just gonna shift deduplicate this down here, and let's connect this to the factor and then this to the factor as well. So the top one is gonna be like the main color. So let me add this and then switch this color to black-ish, and then just something like this. Let's switch this to black as well. Something like that. And then let's do this one, switch it to reddish orange type. Let me move this over here and this over here, and let's switch this to black. So let's do this. I'm gonna switch this to constant. Cool. So what we want to do now is I want this color to be an emissive color, so I'm gonna plug that into here, and then let's see what happens if we do this. Let's turn this metallic all the way up. Let's turn this to 0.3. And let's do like 1.45 for this one. Cool. Alright. Let's disconnect this. I'm gonna add add mix color node. I'm gonna connect color to a result to base color. Then I'm gonna no, let's leave that for now. What I want to do now is add a noise texture like this, and let's connect the factor to B. Now, let's see. Okay. Let me turn this to white actually. So if I scale, you can see the color moving a bit. So let's turn it back here. Let's crank up the detail all the way up. And then I'm gonna do another Voronoi texture. So let's duplicate this. Move this up a bit. And I'm gonna check the let's add a displacement node, and I'm gonna put the color into height, and then displacement into displacement. And now if we scale this up a bit, no? Ah, okay, we need to turn the strength of the emission here. As you can see, we got these like red, orangey kind of glowing effects here. So if I turn the shader on, this is gonna glow a bit red. As you can see. So let's go back here. But I don't want these red ones to be so big. So let's go and scale the Voronoi texture. There's still too many of these. Yeah, that doesn't work. Okay, shocker. Let's play with this then. No. Oh, yes. Let's check the last one. Okay. Yes. So I want to go for something like this. And I want it to appear like that's a massive object in space. So I want them to be really small. Something like this, I'd say. So yeah, that doesn't work. Let's make them more red, actually. What if we do blue or green or something in between? I like red, so let's go with red. Then we can play with some values. This, for example. No. So this is how you do procedural textures. You just play with the values until it looks right. this up a bit more. So now if we switch back to render view, you can see the red ones are emitting light. Which is cool. So let's go back to shader view. Let's turn the scale down a bit. Like this, and let's turn the strength to 1.6. And I'm gonna do the same texture here on the top. And I think I'm gonna do the same one over here, but I'm gonna click this new material and this is gonna create a copy of this one. And here I'm gonna switch the color to be something like this, a yellow color. I've turned the roughness all the way down. Or let's do it like this. Okay, just play around with the values a bit. Turn the randomness on this one till I can just about start seeing. Okay, let's go back to our camera view. Let's switch to render. Let's see what we have. Okay, so as you can see, we lost a bit of that sun effect that we had. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a point light, move it on the x-axis over here, turn it to sun, and let's rotate it around the y-axis, and let's see how it affects our model. Something like this. Okay, I played around a bit with the sun. So what you can do now is, if you want, you can select your camera object, press G and then middle mouse button, and then just move the camera in and out however much you want, like this. And now you can see a bit more detail. and it's nice. So the next thing we want to do is prepare for rendering. So how we do that is the easiest way. Go to output properties and click on the format presets, and then here you can choose whichever one you want. I'm gonna go with 4K 2160p. Click it. It automatically puts your resolution to what it's supposed to be. We're not generating a video, so this doesn't really matter. Here you can switch the output folder. I switched this to 16 bits per channel color depth and compression to 100. So the next thing you want to do is save first of all, and then you go to the render and render image, or a shortcut of F12. Then it's gonna load the things that it needs, and then it's gonna render it. So I'm gonna see when it renders. And here it is, the final render. So it's not an exact replica of the reference image. This one has a lot of filters applied to it, and it looks overall better. But here's a quick little way of how you can do something similar by yourself. So the last thing that you need to do is just save it. Let's give it a name, and something like Sci-Fi structure. Save the image, and that's it. You've got yourself a pretty cool render. So thank you for watching. I hope you learned something new, and hopefully you ended up with a neat little render of a space station. And see you in the next one. Bye bye.